Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Co-op Funeralcare European Masters 2017, hosted by Blackpool Newton Hall, part of the Partington's Holiday Group. And for your last game today, we have a very, very intriguing game on the cards. On the streamed TV rink, we've got Gary Smith versus Chris Gale. Gary Smith won 3 tour cards on the trot, I believe. And Chris Gale, European ranked 1. And also this is his home venue. This is a rink he plays a lot. He practices a lot. So as the game progresses, it could be very, very interesting. For those of you that are interested in the games that were on earlier that we didn't have the results for before we went off TV, the game between Trevor Taylor and Wayne Wilgress. Trevor Taylor came out the victor there on the tie break. Paul Hartley won his game in straight sets against Brian Hawkins, and Simon Skelton beat Scott Bishop. So we've already got 4 of the semi-finalists. Trevor Taylor will now meet Billy Jackson tomorrow afternoon on the TV rink at 4:30. The winner of the game on here now will meet Simon Skelton at 11:30 tomorrow. And we've got 3 other games going.
2 inches.
Mike?
7 inches.
On the split rink, 4 and 5, we've got Richard Maddison playing Jason Parkinson. That's the CEO of the World Bowls Tour, Richard Maddison. Doing fantastically well. This is his 3rd game. He's already won 2 into the quarterfinals here. We've got Perry Martin playing Charlie Bence. And also we've got Paul Maynard playing Danny Dennis, and that's on the other 3 rinks in operation. Obviously from tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, everything's on the TV rink.
Last ball, 1.5 inches in front, 1.5 inches short of Jack High.
So stay with us if you can. If you can't, you'll get all the results on worldbowlstour.tv. So you've currently got the other weekend commentator playing the tournament director, who of course is not currently tournament directing. That honour passes to the assistant tournament director, Tom Weir, who's in charge of proceedings at the moment. Takes the pressure off Richard when he's playing. He's also doing a bit of score running for me, is Tom, letting us know how things are going on the other rinks. Try and keep you informed if we possibly can. Gary Smith playing with green bowls in a green shirt, but he's red on the scoreboard. Three players out there at the moment from Newton Hall playing Newton Hall tops. Nice to see. Let's hear from Chris. What a great bowl. Doesn't want to sit down and tip the jack back to Gary's bowl. Another line here, I think, from Gary. 2 shots to Chris Gale to open up the first set. We play 2 sets of 9 ends here, and if necessary, a 3-end tie break. Marker Dan McManus.
To the tee.
Of course, from
1
tomorrow we
metre,
have
4
all the
inches.
3 umpires officiating on the TV rink, so we'll have a marker and an umpire. At the moment the markers are umpiring proceedings as well. Just a few loose bowls at this end. The temperature does change out there quite dramatically when it gets towards tea time. Got a bit cooler outside, will affect the rink. And Chris has just got the draw back here. It looks like a very wide line. I think it'll make it back to centre. Just overplayed it. Jack could have been on the tee, Chris. Of course, Chris is one of the directors of the World Bowls Tour, Martin Gale's son. I'm sure Martin's in somewhere watching his son play. Tends to hide himself away somewhere around a pillar somewhere.
1 shot. Chris Gale.
I know for a fact that Shelley, Gary Smith's fiancée, is in building. Looks like she, yeah, there she is, Shelley. the white jacket on. Big supporter of her man Gary. He supports her in return because I believe whenever he wins a tournament, Shelley gets to go and spend some of the prize money. Very smooth, deliberate delivery. Gale, Gary Smith, one of the most perfect textbook deliveries you'll ever see. Chance to watch this. Stands on the mat, sets himself, delivers bowl. Absolutely the same delivery every time.
One yellow.
Well, Chris, are you going to make the trip to hold the 2 shots?
Goes for second, Gary. I favour it's just the one. Though. I favour it's just the one, but it is close for the second. Favour it's just one.
Just clarifying what the markers instructed him. On which his second shot is in the area this time. 1-2 off the short ball, get a bit of the jack. Yeah, there we go. One of the most consistent skips in England for many years, Gary Smith. Played in the international squad. Many years, doesn't play now. Plays a lot of the open singles events around the country, very successful with singles. Won many national titles as well, Gary. Furthest he's got in
One yellow.
a ranking event was the quarterfinals of the International Open, which was back here in 2014. On the tour card back in 2012, 2014 and 2015. British Isles Fours champion, National Fours, National Singles champion. All credits. 47 international caps for his country.
One shot. Gale.
But he's up against a man that's also won many titles. Club and county, current club men's singles champion here at Blackpool. And like I say, does spend a lot of time on this rink. Certainly did in the lead up to playing at the International Open. Changes slightly when the boards are put on. This is the middle rink of 3 rinks. The boards that you see either side are on rinks 1 and 3. Does affect the centre of rink 2. Gary Smith just under the line here.
1.5 feet behind. 1.5.
Don't forget we have full coverage here on worldbowlstour.tv, the streaming on YouTube and also on Facebook Live. First go at putting things out on Facebook Live has been very, very positive. Need to just rest the back bowl of Chris Gale's.
1 red. 12 inches.
It's on a good track. Trivector bowls just finishing to the centre. Gary got the chance to slot another bowl in here now. Very close with this. And that's the usual form we see Gary Smith in. Gary played this morning on this rink. Game I didn't see and I believe he was outstanding. Played against James Rippey. James Rippey sat next to Shelley at the moment watching Gary. Chris looking to just draw. Got a big strike in his armoury, Chris Gale, but nothing really for him as a target here. Short with this. Nice shot from our ditch cam there. Gary walking back to pick up his bowl. Always the same routine. Collects himself, picks up his bowl. Decides what he's playing, sets straight to the mat and plays. Back in line. Urging it on, urging it on. Sure it's just sat out or not. 2 declared.
3 shots. Gary Smith.
Well, that ties the setup a bit closer. Gary Smith 3, Chris Gale 4 after 4 ends in this first set. with it's like tiger bowls, non-gripped, big swinging bowls. Chris has recently swapped manufacturing, now plays with arrows. Simon Skelton on his phone there, texting. Simon's already through to the semi-finals here tomorrow on at 11:30. Of course, he's actually waiting for the winner of this game tomorrow.
Two yellow.
Well, scores on the doors outside on the rinks. Richard Maddison is 6-2 up against Jason Parkinson after 6 ends of the first set. Danny Dennison is 6-1 up against Paul Maynard after 5 ends. And Perry Martin is 9-2 up against Charlie Benz after 5 ends. Trying to keep you informed, ladies and gentlemen. Chris just wants to rest on the green bowl.
Two yellow.
Still a lot of room here for Gary.
Short hole is a gap of 10 inches.
Down a very good track here, Gary. I think he's overplayed it again though. Big opportunity for Chris here. Chris asking this to stay high. Starting to swing now. Shouldn't be in any damage really. 3 shots.
3 shots. Chris Gale.
Well, Gary got himself back in this set by counting a 3 at the last end, and Chris has gone too shy. You can do that, I can do that. Counts a 3. 7-3 up after 5 ends in this quarter-final game of Tour Card 1 at the Co-op Funeralcare European Masters 2017. Urging it on. That's on a good track, Chris. there a hole for the bowl? I might just sat back in. Chris will just stick to his forehand here. Just a drawn at the moment. Needs to get the jack and stay with it. Bit overplayed.
One red. One red.
Gary again, just stick down the forehand. Room to slip past Chris Gale's bowl.
Short ball has a gap of 5 inches.
And the jack to the tee, and we pass the tee.
Yes, you're a foot past the tee, just slightly over the foot.
Chris urging this on, needs to just get past his own.
One yellow. It's half a ball short of jack high.
Gary can afford to reach this off the forehand, just try and turn the bowl out. Even if he gets back to the jack, it's good. Well, got past if it sits down. Shows you what a swing there are on these bowls of Gary Smith's.
One red.
Made it all the way back. Not sure who's holding shot. We fancy it could be one red. Needs to have reached on this line. A tight line for Chris's bowls. There's Ron and Sheila. Oh, the pint's disappeared from Sheila. It's a Coke bottle appeared. Obviously on the pints when she watches Billy Jackson. Nice high line off the draw here. There's a gap between Chris Gale's two bowls. Gary thinks he's holding shot. He won't want to do too much damage here.
One now. One shot. Gary Smith.
I think it was one red there. We're not picking up the umpire's information at the moment. Just had news through that Danny Dennison against Paul Maynard. Danny Dennison's taken the first set out there. Still waiting for other scores to filter through to me here in our commentary position here at Blackpool. Some great bowls here from the two guys on the TV rink.
Last ball.
As expected, it was highlighted as being one of the games of the day. Certainly turned into that.
To the jack.
Chris Gale though, 3 shots up with 3 ends to play. Some information for you on the other 2 games out there. Perry Martin has won the first set 12-2 against Charlie Benz. So we already knew Danny Dennison had got the first set against Paul Maynard, and apparently Richard Maddison is 8-6 up against Jason Parkinson, playing the last end of the first set. And of course some great bowls going on here on the TV rink. Down a very good track again from Gary. All about the weight now as the bias starts coming into play. Chris is coming to have a look at this. Only 1 down at the moment. Chris opted to play down the backhand, a nice swinging hand, but you've got to be perfect weight down there, but he knows that. He plays the rink often enough. Not easy to do. Some people expect the home players to perform really well on the rinks, but they do change. News from the outside rinks is that Jason Parkinson's just picked up a 3 on the last end of the game against Richard Maddison in the first set, and has won the first set 9-8. We're just trying to find out what the technical difficulties are with the umpire's speaker system, so we're not sure though. We think it might be one Gary Smith. Not sure whether it was 1 or 2 there. Whose back is it? Was just the 1. 5-7, 2 ends to play. Looks like a great opener here from Gary. Chris Gale urging this on. I think it's underweight, Chris. Both players sticking to this forehand when they can. See players come along and play the backhand. Some find it very well, but this is the more consistent hand of the 2 in this direction.
Two red. Two red.
And Chris don't want to go to pot at this end. If he gets a chance, he'll certainly pile on the pressure.
Three red. Last ball is a 12-inch gap. The back ball is a 1.5 feet. Two red. Two red.
Well, Chris, might see one of the big guns come out here. Just playing to draw. I thought he might have played down through the middle of there to try and split the 2 Gary Smith bowls. Got best back position as well. Opted for the draw. Always the best shot if you get the right shot. He hasn't got that. I still think he might have been better with the split.
Two shots. Gary Smith.
Well, Gary's really got himself back into this set. 7-all, with one end to play, almost like a tie-break end here. Doesn't matter how many shots you count, you just want to win the set. Bit of a loose opener from Gary, but it's behind, gives him chances. Always useful later on in an end. Chris Gale's lost the last 3 ends of this set.
One yellow.
Well, 2 very loose bowls there from Gary Smith when he's got himself all the way back into this set.
2 yellow.
Oh, marvellous. We have our umpire back. Dulcet Scottish tones of Dan McManus are back in our ears. Oh, Gary overplayed that. Well, Chris, big opportunity. Put a closer bowl in now. Chris isn't there either. Oh, what a nervy end of bowls. Big thing for both players out there. Chris Gale and Gary Smith are both on the World Bowls Tour ranking list. So tour card and then scrape a few games together when you get to the ranking events. The top 16 beckons. Now Gary, it's like he's shaping up to play the forehand. Nice hand, the forehand, playing away from the doors towards the commentary box. I tell you what, I think he's found one here. Save it to your last one, Gary, why don't you?
Red.
Now Chris, still got a chance. Chop and lie the bowl. Go with the jack. He's got a bowl right behind the jack as well. Sort of thing if Chris was playing a league game here, he'd probably get 8 times out of 10. But under this pressure for the first set in this quarter-final game. Tour card 1. Watching it. It's close. All clean. Yep, done enough.
1 shot. First set. Chris.
Sorry folks, I've lost umpire again, so but it was 1 there to Chris Gale first set. 8-7. But Chris Gale just snuck that first set. We've had it confirmed now that it was 8-7
1 yellow.
to Chris Gale. Just wanted to get that completely confirmed as we hadn't had that through from the marker.
Close for second. 1 yellow, close for second.
Bit of a technical issue with his headset. We're now getting the
Your last ball
information
is
through
11
to
inches
us.
past Jack High.
Bit of static happening. And Chris just overplayed that as well. It often happens that when you've had a tense last few ends of a first set, the opening ends. Of course, Gary Smith has got to win this to take us into a tie break. One of the most successful tour card players of all time. 3 tour cards. Only a master of the draw shot, Gary Smith. Struggled on a few ends here. Chris Gale's taking his chances when he could. Still a lot of room here for Gary. Just the draw. Needs to stop. We'll go right through the gap. Well, not sure who's holding shot here at all, whether that's sat in or it could even be 2 to Chris Gale. Look at it.
I'll be asking for 2 go.
Two shots. Chris Gale.
Yep, Gary went right through the gap there. 2 shots to Chris Gale. Takes opening blood in this second set. He won the first set by a cat's whisker. 8-7. Try and find out some scores from the other rinks for you as soon as we can. Of course, from tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. All the scores you'll see yourselves on this rink, because all the games from tomorrow morning are played on the TV rink and are live streamed and live Facebooked to your good selves. It's like a good opener from Chris here. Yeah, down the forehand. Players often do that. If they're just struggling to just get a neat draw off the hand they favour, they'll swap hands to just try and get that line and length. They need to put pressure on their opponent.
Is there a gap there, Dan, please?
Half an inch. red. One red.
It's under the line here, Gary. Probably going to force Chris into a reaching bowl down this backhand. Reach the bowl or jack. Got the back position covered. As long as the jack doesn't go out to the green bowl of Gary Smith's. Few chances down this backhand. Do correct myself, it's forehand. It's been a long day since the alarm went this morning. In the area, certainly in the target area here, Chris. Just needs to move that touch. Very unlucky. He's overpaced this. I think it'll be just the one to Gary Smith.
One shot. Gary Smith.
Chris Gale leads 1-2. After 2 ends second set, he won the first set 8-7. Well, the state of play going on the rinks outside is Parkinson-Madison game. Set 2, Parkinson's 8-1 up after 4 ends. Perry Martin's 4-3 up after 5 ends. And Danny Dennison's 5-2 up after 5 ends. Those are all second set scores.
One red.
Just trying to get your score corrected there, folks. It's actually 2-1 at the moment to Chris Gale. Gary Smith scored on that last end. There we go. You see, as if by magic. Some great ball there from Gary. Fantastic balls here at this end by
3
Gary
red.
Smith, who has to win this set to take us into a tie break. And to be honest, I know I've said a couple of times I thought Chris would have played a runner at this, but it's going to be hard to beat these on the draw when he's just played 3 bowls, a yard and a bit over. He's got the first set in the bag. It might be worth him going heavy at this. And playing a timer, so this will move a bit. Oh, got a result out of that, did Chris? Just felt he needed that.
Shots. Scale.
Well, that 2 shots was a big difference for Chris Gale. Just having a few technical difficulties getting the scores through from the marker umpire out there, Dan McManus. We've just got a few problems with this headset. The scores coming through to us to try and eliminate the static, but unfortunately the static's appeared, the gremlins appeared in that system now, so we've had to turn him off basically. We have been known in the past to have various different problems with static here. We thought we'd eliminated that. We used to have a bit of a laugh with a gentleman that's frequently done the events here at Blackpool. One of the World Bowls Tour umpires, Francis Fletcher. So I always used to jokingly say Francis has got such a clear voice he didn't need to be microphoned up. We could hear him from the other end of the ring, no problem whatsoever. So Gary, just a nice draw. He played 3 superb bowls at the last end. And Chris Gale played his get out of jail running bowl card. Here we go. Gary.
Gap for my ball, Dan, please.
Gap from your ball, 14 inches. 1 red.
Superb ball from Gary Smith. Pressure all back on Chris Gale. And Chris, play to reach these two bowls now. Oh, doesn't like this. I think he's on the wide side. Bit of pace on this. This line will just hold off. Bit of a shout out to another one of the World Bowls Tour umpires that's listening in at the moment, Dan Blewett. Just been announced that he's the head official for the Special Olympics. That's in Sheffield in August. And the indoor bowls is being played in the Olympics at Doncaster Indoor Bowls Club. So we're missing you here, Dan. But looking forward to working with you in August. Gary Smith on a great track here. All on pace again. This is what Gary's very good at. Won't ever give up. 3 shots, draws him level. That was quite handy because I could tell that was 3 shots. Oh, the joys of modern technology, eh? Change of length here from Gary. Matt right up. Scores on the doors from the outside rinks. Jason Parkinson is 9-3 up against Richard Maddison after 6 ends. That means Tom Weir might be taking his tournament director's hat off after this game. Going back to assistant tournament director. Bless you, Tom. But he's also my runner for these scores, so I'm saying that. He stood next to me at the moment. Charlie Benz has taken the lead in the second set against Perry Martin. He's 6-5 up, 1 end to play. Could go to tie break there. And Danny Dennison's 9-2 up against Paul Maynard with 2 ends to play. Looks like Danny could be stepping into the semi-finals. Thanks, Tom. Oh, Chris has just played a good bowl there. Under the pressure at the moment from Gary Smith. News on the Parkinson-Madison game. Parkinson's gone through into the semi-finals. And Danny Dennison's also taken his place in the semi-finals. So the only game on at the moment is Perry Martin versus Charlie Benz.
Gap of an inch. 1 inch gap, Gary.
Gary just taking his time to have a look at this. Ball again here. He'll want it to sit down because he really does want to try and count another shot if he can.
Last ball.
I wonder if Charlie Benz can do the miracles again and get himself into a tie break. One of the oldest players in the tournament, playing one of the youngest players in the tournament at the moment out there on the rinks. Well, Gary, can you rest this ball to make another? Wants to reach. Still one to Gary Smith. Chris will have a look at this. He's got the best back position. I've just had the news that Charlie Benz didn't manage to get it to a tie break. Perry Martin picked up a one shot on the last end of the second set to tie the set. So Perry Martin takes his place in the semi-finals tomorrow, where he'll meet Jason Parkinson. That's a 2:30 game on the TV rink. So it means I lose my fellow commentator, but we get the tournament director back. I'm only saying that because Jason's just walked into the commentary box just to make him feel bad. You can probably hear him smiling in the background. This has been a good game, Jason. Well, you just stood there watching. It's been very tight. Gary's just holding shot here at the moment. So the only game left on here now. The winner of this game will face Simon Skelton at 11:30 in the morning. We already know that the 10 o'clock game, first up, do join us, Paul Hartley versus Danny Dennison. One place left in the semi-finals of Tour Card 1. Which of these men out on this rink will take that? Gary Smith 5-4 up after 5 ends, second set. Chris Gale took the first set.
Shot ball, trampoline, what's the gap?
Shot ball gap 6 inches.
Well, there's a picture of Jason Parkinson. Jason just beat Richard Maddison, a very tight game there. So, popped into commentary, so I had to wind him up, didn't I? Jason's played his nationals this year with Chris Gale. He's mentioned that he's going now to York and District for next year due to his work it's easier for him to get to the York Bowls Club. Certainly this season he's played with Chris Gale and he's got to the final of the national outdoor pairs and also the final of the national indoor pairs. A good pairing. Chris, have you got the weight to reach this jack? Gary Smith not wasting time. He's used to playing under the shot clock, having qualified obviously for the ranking events that are all played under the shot clock, and I think any of us that have played under the shot clock, you tend to try and play all your games even in home situations, bearing that in mind just for if you get the chance to play under the shot clock again. All on pace, Gary. If you're the right pace, it'll make it all the way back in. Looks like it's done enough for two. It's two. I think we'll have to give Dan McManus some lollipops out there to tell us how many shots. So I'll be informed by my producer that it's two shots. Thank you, Dad. Needed that. Closer here, Chris. Holds on for the bowl, rest off it. And Gary's asking for one shot. Yeah, one shot to Gary Smith. It's a 6-4 lead after 6 ends. 3 ends left to play. Opting for the shorter length jack again here, Gary. Watching it. It's not a bad opener. Good again here from Gary. Chris, having won the first set, only needs to tie this set. Looks onto the line again, Chris.
Two red.
Certainly all at sea at this end, Chris. Now, Gary, what do you play to cover? End 7. Be quite happy to pick up 2 at this end.
Gap of 9 inches.
didn't like that. Well, now, Chris Gale, you're certainly putting yourself under pressure here. We've all done it. It's easy to do. Easier said than done. When you're out there and all the pressure's on. Players coming in now to watch the end of this game. That'll put even more pressure on. Something that this man, about step on the mat, could throw pressure at him in bucket loads.
Four red.
Well, Chris, 4 down. Got that last bowl to rest off. The wing bowl to the side, left-hand side of your screen. Oh, he didn't get a ball. I thought he might have got the side bolt. Just moved very quickly. 4 shots. I think we might be looking at a tie break here, folks. Gary Smith leads in the second set 10-4, 2 ends to play. 6 behind. Big ask for Chris. But he only has to score 6. He can tie it 10-all. He won the first set by 1 shot. Otherwise, we go into a tie break. Lots of players coming in now to have a watch. Gary just played a superb bowl. Just going to be unlucky again, I think, Chris. Certainly think we're heading for a tie break here. Gary's no need to put anything close now. Can go deep. Cover bowls.
1 or 2 serves down, please.
Paper is 2. One, paper is 2.
That was a question of frustration more than anything from Chris Gale. It looks like Paul Maynard's going to sleep in the far corner there. It's obviously not such a good game to watch. I thought it was quite a good game myself, Paul.
Gary Smith. Match tiebreak.
Gary has won the toss and has given the jack Chris in the first end.
Well, we're going to a tie break as expected. Before the game started, I think most of us might have said this had gone to a tie break, but Gary Smith just absolutely dominated that second set. Interesting to see now how it pans out. Have you kept the jack on for a start, Chris? Yep. Well, that's quite a loose opening bowl there. From Chris, he's really struggled in this second set. Well, again, a loose opening bowl there from Gary Smith as well. Delighted to be joined in the commentary box for this tie break by Perry Martin. Welcome to comms, Perry.
Hello.
Just snuck over the line against the old-timer Charlie Benz there.
It was unbelievable in the second set.
He seems to be able to scrape through these tough games, doesn't he?
He has a habit of pulling out big bowls on the sort of third and his fourth bowl. He can be in a heap of trouble and he brings out a bomb.
Well, you've stepped into the semi-finals now tomorrow against Jason Parkinson. It's an interesting game that, but this one's been very, very interesting. Chris Gale virtually dominated the first set. Gary Smith really stuck in here. Tie-break end. This is a little bit looser end from both of them.
It's very loose from Gary. I'm watching the last couple of ends and his first two bowls have been almost on it every end.
Yes, and of course with the tie-break ends it all comes down to counting that one shot. It doesn't matter how many shots you have on, you just win in the end. Chris is in the area with this.
That stops the backhand runner. That stops the jack in the ditch.
There is the gap between his own two bowls to get. He's got to play the perfect weight. We all know that this man can do that. Got to be perfect weight to get between those two there, Perry, isn't it?
Yeah.
You played on this rink yourself this morning. It's a good rink, but any sort of pace and it's unforgiving. Very close. Needs a piece of the bowl.
Good effort.
Do they say holes for bowls? That was an excellent effort.
Bowl too wide and he drags the jack there for one. This forehand going down, it's a lovely hand, probably the best hand I'd say. Do you agree in the club?
Yeah, it's
Really is forgiving on the draw.
a good rink. It's one of those hands that further out you put it, as long as you're a good weight,
Comes all the way back.
it comes all the way back. You tend to find most players seem to stick to that forehand if they can. Obviously sometimes you're forced onto the backhand. That does have a bit of a straightener, as you found yourself this morning.
Yes, any sort of just overweight and it just tends to kicks that last bit. I actually struggled coming back up. I wasn't quite sure what hand to play. I stuck with a backhand, but sometimes the forehand, you just bowled the odd bowl on it and nailed it.
Both
Back
hands
toucher.
coming back up towards the commentary box are quite fair, I think. course, you've got the same situation as Gary Smith had out here. Jason Parkinson knows this rink like the back of his hand. Been a club member here for many years. Plays slightly differently though. If you speak to Mark Dawes, he always says when we put the boards down on rinks 1 and 3, it does change it. So,
Yeah,
although there is the home advantage, not quite as much as some people might think.
someone else did say that to me yesterday. I think Connor said it because he's obviously played with the boards down and he's played when the boards haven't been down. And he said it just changes it ever so slightly. I think temperature as well. I've noticed temperature in here changes
Yeah.
quite dramatic. I mean, we played our first game was on rink 4, and halfway through the game, temperature dropped and the rink changed.
And of course, all the games now are out on the TV rink, so when it gets warm, is this reaching? I don't think he's reached here.
Reached there.
First end to Chris Gale. And that means Gary Smith's got to win the next 2 ends to take himself through into the semi-final. The slot that's waiting is against Simon Skelton. Some good games on the cards tomorrow. Can Chris Gale win this end and take himself into that semi-final?
Gary has been playing this forehand, coming back very well with his first 2 bowls. The last end of the second set, he nailed his first 2. Forced Chris into play and wait. Speaking to him as well, he said that's his favourite hand.
Just under the 3 feet from the tee.
I think just with the Tigers, he gets that little bit extra,
Yeah.
which allows him to
Yeah.
get all the way back.
He does love his Tiger bowls. He doesn't play with a grip on his bowls, and they do swing lovely back to centre. Well, Chris, that's not a bad opener. You can never count Gary Smith out of these things, though. You always just come up with that one big bowl, and that's all you need in the tie break.
He's so consistent on the draw, one of the best draw players I've ever seen.
Just overplayed this, but it's better there than short. Chris will want to get closer bowling here. Gary's only got a slight adjustment on his last delivery. Urging this on.
Doesn't look too bad.
Oh, that's a good ball, Chris.
Very good, that. I expected to see more people in here, being Chris being a home player. Thought there'd be a bit more support.
Yeah, I think the thing that you've got here, Perry, is we're right in the Crown Green season starts back end of February, beginning of March.
Right.
So even the club manager's off playing at a Crown Green somewhere. He left about 5 o'clock to go and get ready for Crown Green leagues. Crown Green runs from, well, the leagues run from back end of February till middle of October time, and
They start in February.
we have tournaments all throughout. There's even a Boxing Day handicap played out on the Crown.
And how far is the shot ball
So
off?
if you think of it as a very Crown predominant area,
Yeah.
our leagues are structured around the Crown as well. So there'll be a few people listening in to us. Let's put it that way, out and about. Well, gone for a bit of a tactical ball. I wouldn't want to create a bigger target there, Perry.
No, I think staying away from it's the right option.
Well,
You could have maybe just tucked it round the corner, but that hand's so hard. I think if anything, you'd make it bigger and leave a shoulder.
yeah, Chris might even opt for trying to go deep.
I would be
Yeah.
definitely putting a deep bowl in here.
Stay away, let Gary play the shot if that's what he's looking to play. If Gary removes one of Chris's bowls, he's actually holding 2 from the angles, I think, at the moment, so he's got to get it perfect.
There's a chance of both, but it's more likely the jack will go. And the angle it's sitting at off the forehand, I don't think the bowl will go with the jack. Might do if he catches it thin.
Yeah, something deep here from Chris. Just asking to see the line. Have all sorts of things with these TV rinks because you don't want to cover the line for the players that tend to use the line for their guide, but also we don't want players to stand mid-rink and block with TV view.
I think I must have done that a couple of times, Dave. I just totally forgot and stood in the middle of the rink.
It's all right, our markers and umpires will guide you out of the way if necessary.
Oh, they didn't have to do that, so I might have been alright.
Well, Gary Smith, most consistent and effective player in the tour cards over the years, has won 3. This bowl to stay in the 2017 European Masters. Something similar to what he just tried, Perry, do you think?
I wonder if he'd go more neater. He has.
Certainly watching it. Yeah,
He
he's
just
just gone
backed
for the
himself on the
pure
draw.
draw. Seen him do these time and time again. Well, Gary, have you done it again?
He's given it a great effort. As long as you don't fall back on the jack.
It
he's
sits
got it.
down. I think the jack's gone to the Chris Gale bowl there.
This game.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he was
very unlucky.
unfortunate there.
That was
Almost the perfect bowl. Chris Gale steps into the place against Simon Skelton tomorrow morning at 11:30. Perry, thanks for your short but sweet company and all the very
No
best for
worries.
the rest of the tournament.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget to join us tomorrow morning, folks, at 10 o'clock for Paul Hartley versus Danny Dennis. And thanks for your company today. Have a good evening.